What's going on, guys? This morning, I took a trade in the small account. I'm going to break it down here in a second. It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful in hindsight. Looking at it in hindsight, it's beautiful. But in the moment, you're going to see how the effects of trading a small account can affect your emotions, can affect your mindset. And I'll talk about that in this video. Talk about how you have to be on point. You have to understand that every dollar matters when you're trading with only $1,000. If you only have $1,000, you don't have much to risk. You just need to make money, basically what it comes down to. But I'm going to break down this trade this morning that I called perfectly. I called a beautiful trade. I had the right mindset. I had everything going into this trade perfectly. But emotions took over, and I ended up getting out for, you'll see here in a second. You'll see what happened. But I want you guys to see the battle, and this is why I make these videos in the first place, for people out there who are in the same place that I once was, and talking about just overall trading with a small account, what it's like, what you're going to be battling, and all of that margin accounts and all of that fun stuff. We're doing it in this video, so make sure you stay tuned. All right, so I've seen this story before here on Kroger. Kroger this morning having bad news on the ER and looking for a short opportunity. I want to see a little bit of a push back up here, just a little bit. 26.30 area would be nice. You can see this morning gapping down Kroger from $29 down there to $25. I got the earnings this morning, bad earnings, not hitting what they wanted. And we've seen the stock just kind of get slaughtered before in the same kind of setup. So I'm looking for, like I said, just a little bit of a pop. I like to see this 26.30 area. We just might not get it, though. So I'm going to go ahead and take it right there, actually, at 26. And look for us a break below $26. So let's see if we can pull down there below $26 on this candle. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to risk off this 26.16 area for my stop here. I'm going to go ahead and just stop out. I'm going to go ahead and just get out of that trade there, Kroger. Not really liking just kind of how tight we're getting right there, but looks like now it wants to pull back. I'm going to play it safe here in the small account this morning. Oh, there she goes. It's going to go. Should have just kept this one in play there, but like I said, just really wasn't liking the risk on this. Didn't really have a good entry, you know. It wasn't like a beautiful entry, and I don't know. Didn't really want to force it, especially in the small account this morning, so just taking a really small loss there. I'm looking here at ALT, like maybe ALT down here in the 380s, if we can pull down there, 380 area for a possible entry here. So there it is, Kroger now down there to 25.65. So doing exactly what I wanted to do, just really wasn't liking. Obviously, you know, getting short up here above 26 and having that wiggle room, you know, getting below $26, having that 30 cents of padding there would have been beautiful. You know, you would have felt pretty good about it. But overall, just you can see, you know, at the 5-minute chart, this would have been the better kind of entry area, that 26.30, getting short into that resistance. Look at it now down there to 25.52. So there's the move we were looking for. Just needed to give it a little bit more time. I mean, you know, in hindsight now, it's easy to sit here and say, oh, I could have done this, could have done that. But got to be really particular, really cautious, I guess you could say. Got to be cautious when you're trading with a small account, because I can't afford, you know, to take a $50, $60, $70 loss here. It's better to kind of just take the small loss, you know, the $4 loss when it just really was getting tight here, kind of holding that 25.90, holding 25.90, holding 25.90, and I was just, not that I was worried, but just I didn't want to get caught in a squeeze back up here to the 26.30, 26.50 area, because I would have got stopped out there. So kind of is what it is, you know. Hindsight's 20/20 here, like we talked about before. Somebody the other day asked me, you know, about my buying power and all of that. You can see here I've got 6-to-1 margin, so I am trading with margin. Margin is not a bad thing. Margin is not like this crazy, scary thing. A lot of people kind of get weirded out with margin. They think that margin is like this thing you can't use. Well, you can use it. You just have to understand the risk, and you got to understand that if you're, you know, buying 1,000 shares with a $1,000 account, if it drops $1, well, you can do the math, my friends. You can do the math. You know, you'll lose $1,000. You know, blow up your account pretty quickly. So you have to understand that if you are trading with margin, well, You got to be able to get in, you got to be able to get out, and you got to cut your losers quick. And that's really what it comes down to when it comes to margin. You know, it's not a secret thing by any means. It's not like, oh, margin is this very scary thing. A lot of people make it like this scary thing, like, oh, I shouldn't be trading if I have to use margin. I don't use margin. I only trade with my own money, not margin. But, I mean, you're basically trading with your own money. It's just that you're, you know, using margin, I guess I could say. You're using margin. It's your own money. You're going to get cut off. It's not like you're going to lose your broker's money. I mean, obviously there's a chance, but most brokers will basically have like a cutoff where they see your account equity getting lower and lower. They'll cut you off so they protect themselves. So if you are using your broker's margin or your broker's money, once you run out of your own money, they're going to cut you off pretty quickly. You know, overnight stuff like that, swing trading, a little bit different. But for day trading, for intraday day trading, that's really kind of what goes down. You know, if they see you start to get really risky, they're going to cut you off. And there it is, Kroger down there to 25.61 now, 25.60. This trade right here comes down to one thing and one thing only, and that's really just the entry. You know, not having a good entry, not having a good risk reward for me because of my entry basically made it hard for me to hold this, and that's why I was kind of on the fence there. You know, do I get out? Do I hold it? What do I do? And you can see now Kroger down there to 25.60. In a larger account, if I had a larger account, if I was trading with a larger account on this trade, I would have easily, you know, just ended up taking, you know, if I was trading with a larger account on this type of trade, I would have been fine, you know, with risking $100, $200 on this trade, you know, risking $300. If I was shorting, you know, 1,000 shares there at $26 and I was risking up here to $26.30, I could risk $300 in a normal account. But in the small account, obviously, we can't risk $300 because what happens? If we lose $300 in the small account, if we lose $300 in a small account, that's going to not only hurt our equity, but it's also going to hurt our buying power, and it's going to make it much harder to gain that $300 back, if that makes sense. So if I'm losing $300, it makes it much harder for me to gain back $300 because I'm losing, 3 times 6? You know, I'm losing $1,800 worth of buying power from that $300 loss. So you got to think about it like that. If you're trading with a small account and you're using margin and all that, you have to understand that if you lose equity, if you're losing $300 in equity, you're losing 6 times that in buying power, and that's going to make it that much harder to gain that equity back. So you got to be really, really quick to take profit. You got to get in, you got to get out, and you got to be able to understand the risk, the reward, and also the idea that you can't go and lose, you know, a lot of money in a small account, because if you do, it's going to make it really hard to gain that money back. And you can see now Kroger down there to 25.69. So doing exactly what we wanted it to do. It's just a really good example of how not having a good entry made it hard. You know, should I have taken this trade? I would have been okay if this would have not held right here. You know, if this would have just started to kind of roll off like we did earlier, you know, here from 26.38, and it would have pulled down here like that. So if we would have went and then started pulling back down there to 25.70 like that. So then I had, you know, that wiggle room, and then I saw that we weren't holding this 25.90 like that. If we would have had that type of action, I would have been able to get out there pretty, you know, nice. I would have been able to hold this, and I would have felt good about it. But the problem was we started holding this 25.90, and now it's like, okay, you know, we're getting some buyers stepping in. Look at the volume on here. You got 50,000 shares. You got 57,000 shares traded, and the stock got stuck within a 5-cent range. So, you know, seeing that big green candle, seeing that volume come in there, seeing that action, we got stuck at 26. Don't get me wrong, we got stuck there. But the longer that we were holding that 25.90 support, the riskier it gets that the stock did want to bounce back. Now, is that to say the stock would have went here to 25? Is that to say the stock would have went back to the moon? No. Would that say the stock could have went up here to 26.34 and got stuck again and then rolled off? Yes. But I would have had to got out, you know, for the 10, 20, 30 cent loss here on this trade, and I would have walked away, you know, with a $50 or $60 loss, and that's just not what I'm trying to do. That's not what I'm trying to do. So I got to just kind of play it with my gut here and take the profit, or cut it off, I guess you should say, when it's not looking like exactly like I want it to do. Like the stock's just not doing exactly what I want it to do, so I'm going to cut it off, and that's what I did. So Kroger now down to $24.50, $24.50. What was I thinking? That's kind of how it works sometimes. You know, you get out for a small loss, or you get out for break even. And then the stock goes lower and lower and lower. I mean, if I was still holding this, I'm not going to say that I would still be holding it at this point, but if I was still holding shares at this point, I'd be up almost $1.50. Wow. That's painful. I'm not going to lie, guys. That's painful. We just got done with the morning live stream, and I wanted to keep this kind of Kroger video to itself just to show you guys, how it happens sometimes, how you have a plan, you get into a stock, all of that stuff. You got all this stuff going on. You really have a solid plan. You just don't get the entry that you're really in love with. You don't get the entry that you really, really cherish or really, really care about, or whatever you want to say. You don't get the entry that you're in love with overall. And look at that now, down there to 24.45. That hurts. I'm not going to lie, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts in my heart right here. Somewhere. Wherever my heart is, it hurts. A little painful this morning watching Kroger go from $26 down there to $24.40 now. You can see my entry from earlier there, the $26. This is not magic. This is not Photoshop. You guys saw me earlier this morning when I was in the trade there at $26, and look at it now. That's going to be a little taxing on my emotions today. Definitely going to be a little taxing on my overall, trading emotions today. And I'm going to know that because I've done this before where I've had this type of opportunity happen where I've had this big, massive move and I've missed out on it and I got the FOMO. And I'm not going to let that affect my trading. So I'm just going to kind of walk away. I'm not really seeing anything else that's moving in terms of action today, pre-market. And like I said, this is one of those trades where it's going to haunt me. It's going to haunt me. Not so much that it was like, oh, I could have made thousands of dollars, but it's more so just like, it's that coin. It's the coin toss, I guess. You're right there at that area, and it's like, I think it comes down to, again, the problems of trading a small account. You got to be really finicky. You got to be really particular about your entries, your trades, and taking profit and taking losses and all that. In a larger account, this would have been a beautiful trade all day long, beautiful trade all day. But in the small account, it makes it a lot harder because you're trading with such a small amount of capital, and every dollar, every $100 is a large amount of money in terms of buying power and all of that. So you got to be really quick to cut your losers. You got to be really quick to take profit sometimes. And this is one of the things in the past that I've talked about with small accounts, why it can be really hard to make money in a small account, because if you lose $100, you're losing all that buying power. Obviously, if you make $100, you're adding buying power, but every loss really takes away from your overall buying power, from your overall margin on the account, and it makes it difficult to grow a small account. Is it impossible to grow a small account? No. Is it hard to grow a small account? Yes. Also, a lot of people who start trading small accounts for the first time are new traders, and it's not easy. They don't understand that you have to cut your losers, that you can't take big losses, that you can't really overtrade. You can't do anything wrong, right at the beginning. You got to build that cushion. You got to build that little bit of padding in your account before you can, really maximize your profits. And today, really good example of that. This is kind of why I like to document these videos in the first place. Kind of why I make these videos, is to show you the battle of trading with a small account, and missing out on a massive opportunity like this. So I mean, this would have been beautiful, a beautiful profit for the small account there, but it kind of is what it is. Down there at 24.40 now. So was I right? I was right in the idea this stock was going to go lower, like we talked about. I've seen this happen before. I've seen it happen with earnings and Kroger, and I've made money on shorting Kroger in the past. So seeing this opportunity again, I was like, it's time to rock and roll. But then, really my entry just was not on point. I didn't have the best entry I could have, and all I was thinking about was, oh man, I'm risking 30 cents here. I'm risking 30 cents. I'm risking 30 cents here, and this was too much of a risk for this account, I guess you could say. And people might say, well, you could start with a smaller size. You could have smaller size, but then it's just counterproductive, because you really need a certain risk reward for every trade, for every opportunity, to grow the small account. You got to be thinking like that. And it just comes with time and understanding that, not every trade is going to work out perfectly. Not every trade is going to be beautiful, especially like today on Kroger. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. It's emotional. I'm going to cry. I'm not going to cry, but, it's definitely, it affects your emotions. It definitely, right now, is affecting my emotions, because I'm not thinking rational. I'm thinking like, damn, I just want to trade this. I got to make some money because I just missed out on this major move, and that's not what I want to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and just close this out there. I'm not going to look at Kroger anymore. I'm going to close my eyes. It's just going lower and lower and lower. There it is. Kroger, baby. Doing exactly what we thought it would do, but the emotions taking over this morning and not letting me capitalize. If you guys haven't already, do me one big favor, hit that like button, that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this trade and overall these videos? Talk to you guys later on.